good afternoon. It's Annie again, and here this time in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about discussion boards and utilizing discussions in your courses and on Canvas. So hopefully you can see my screen here. I'm actually going to go to a class that I did in the spring semester. So if you select people, then you can create some different group sets, and under discussions, I created a new group. So discussions was an assignment that I set up in my courses to take the place of classroom discussions that we normally would have had. I opted not to do a big group discussion because I had 20 some kids roughly in the class, so I wanted to do small group assignments. So I created these different groups. I called them Coyote, Gold, and Purple. And then I assigned students in here into each group from my list of people. I personally tried, because I had the luxury of being in class with them, I tried to put talkative, opinionated people in each group and then fill that in with others for a group discussion. So then under each module, then, so here was kind of the end of this. Here's my discussion board. So does tech benefit all? And I put down like what the question was. And then I have each discussion board group here that is broken down into small groups. So I could see what everybody was talking about. And then it wasn't quite so overwhelming to have them in small groups. There's a lot of literature out about discussion boards, so I just suggest you do some Googling on discussions, and I can share a little bit about what my research found. So for those of you who don't know, I studied discussion boards in asynchronous environments. That was what my PhD was on. I did it from a discourse analysis perspective. Some of the things that I found in my research is we're not very good at allowing differing opinions. Discourse analysis is looking at the usage of text, and so I found that very few posts where ever I disagree or emphatically, picking out statements to disagree with or to talk about a different topic. And I actually was in some classes like ethics and human sexuality and some classes that actually probably could have had very differing opinions. But what I found was most everybody says I agree, and they pick out certain statements that they agree with. So that's very common in discussion boards. Also, I looked at things like what did the instructor require in the syllabus, posting on Wednesday or posting on the next day of the week. Not allowing replies until you post, and then having to do 2 posts, having to pull in external resources, having 250 words, APA style, things like that. Very seldom do teachers actually follow through with that. So my suggestion to you is to really sort of think about, what do you want a discussion board to do? Is it to share opinions? Is it to just foster discussions? Do you ever want to circle back? Nowhere in any of the classes that I studied and looked at online discussion boards did a topic interweave with another topic. They were all individual topics. Nobody ever really circled back in and picked up a topic from previous. So really, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just asking for you to sort of sit back and think about, what is the purpose of a discussion board? What do you need your students to gain from using discussion boards? And then figure out if you want to add a video, if you want to make them pull something out of the text, if you want to give guiding questions. You can see that I gave guiding questions here. In some of my discussion boards, I put videos up and made them react to the video. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to utilize discussion boards. I think what you need to figure out is, what is the purpose of the discussion board inside your own class? I will tell you, if you have large classes, most of what I've seen in the literature and looking at other other feeds that I get from instructional designers, that most people find that teachers get overwhelmed, students get overwhelmed, or graduate assistants or whoever is helping in the class, they get overwhelmed with large groups. So I really encourage you to break down your groups and do small group assignments. If you're already in a small class, then it may not be necessary. You can just do one big group and move about that way. So like I said, there's a lot of research out there on discussion boards and how you would like to utilize discussion boards. There's no right or wrong with discussion boards, so just try to figure out how best you can utilize that. Now that we're in Teams and things like that, there may be chat features. Kids may be doing other things, studying, doing things like that. I think you have a real opportunity to utilize your students and the technology around you to do some really great things as far as your content is concerned. I will caution you on if you are going to do some topics that could potentially, lead to some disagreements, opposing viewpoints. Things with politics right now might be one of those topics. I would definitely think out how you can navigate proper responses. So we are all in the world of netiquette and not using capital letters and what has been ingrained for us for netiquette. One of the things out of my research that I actually suggested maybe that could come is that we do something like netiquette, but for opposing viewpoints or being able to get students to react to things that maybe they don't agree with and they want to share their viewpoint. Those things are a lot easier to control in a face-to-face environment. Teachers can have control of their classrooms. They can say, hey, this needs to stop. So just have a plan in place for how you want to handle students in maybe topics that could get heated or discussions that could get heated, and there's no body language and there's nobody sort of refereeing these discussion boards. I think that's honestly why it doesn't happen, is we've not come up with a really good way of doing that. But kids could record videos like this of how they feel about things, and then you can see body language and you can do things like that with today's technology. So just because discussion boards tend to be text doesn't mean that you can't find other ways of doing that. I think you're in a unique situation now where you could actually utilize Teams to do small group discussions and breakouts and collaborations. So you guys are in uncharted water right now. Try some things, see what happens, and be able to share best practices. So hopefully this helps you in thinking about how you can utilize discussion boards in your classes moving forward.